Are you good?
all
Because
of
it's
this
going.
stuff.
I'm not recording it before. I am now.
It's recording now?
Now it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have my hair under control.
Yeah, your hair is good, but remember to project your voice.
Yeah, sure. I'm shouting here.
Don't do that.
Okay.
They won't like it. Welcome, everyone. This is episode number 3 for Miriam and Trevor's startup business. I'm Trevor.
I think they already know our name. I'm Mariam.
So, Miriam, tell me what you've been up to. We have some challenges that we do here at the end of every video, and I think that we both had a couple last time.
Yeah. So it was actually your challenges. Part of it was I painted 2 sprites, but you didn't use it for your animation. So you painted 2 sprites. You animate them, and I think you used it for that demo, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't call it game because it's not game, it's demo or something. You made your game with it, right? Yeah. But you painted and you did the animation both. Right. I helped. I was really helpful. But
and it wasn't that straightforward. It was we had a problem with the art program that we're using. We're using ArtRage.
Yeah.
And it was producing very, very big files, even in sprite format, that we couldn't figure out how to reduce them. So I took the paintings that Miriam had done and I transferred them into vector, essentially. I didn't repaint them. And then I animated those vectors.
Okay.
Yeah, so that went well. How did you feel about that?
It was great, and it was especially when you see the result after animated. It's really great. But so we stopped at that point, and we kind of focused more.
We kind of what?
Focus.
Okay. Focus.
More on business side, which was listening to a startup podcast.
There you go. Nice. Yeah. So we did do the challenges. We did Spriter was the program used for animation, and ArtRage was the program we started with for the actual artwork, the sprites themselves. But we ran into some issues with that that we're going to talk about later, and that might lead us to different software, right?
Yeah, most probably we have to go to Photoshop, and we're taking the course, so makes sense.
There you go. And this Saturday, we're going to take a Photoshop course. So Photoshop seems to be an all-inclusive suite, or might be an all-inclusive suite for all this. So we're really excited that it might handle everything. We didn't do it originally because it's, for you, those who don't know, the latest Photoshop is called the Creative Cloud, and it is essentially a pay-per-month fee. Rather than buying the program, you buy a subscription, you get access to all of the program. Which is good in a way and it's bad in a way. Photoshop on its own used to be a $500 or $600 program, the suite. So when you think about it like that, it's $300 a year, $360 at the normal rate, I believe it is. And then if so, that'd be a year and a half. If they have an update every year and a half, if you were to buy it, then it would work out to be about the same. I happen to be in university, so we can get it for $20. So we might do that, and that actually works out to about 3 years. Before you'd have to update it, which actually might be a better deal than buying the software directly. Anyway, so we're working on all that in the background. Stay tuned. But you were saying that we kind of, now we took some steps towards the art side, and we still are. We've got this Photoshop thing coming up this week, but we also took some steps. It's not just about the art and designing. It would be nice if that was all we had to do, but we need to have some more focuses. And one of those focuses is the business side. So what happened in the last week on the business side? So
I'm not sure if I get their name right. It was Alex Bloomberg, your startup.
Alex Bloomberg, startup podcast.
Yeah, and we listened I think to like 6 or 7 of it, and it was really encouraging, like the step he took from the first one that was talking to investor, and he didn't do a good job and he was so stressed, and all of the journey that he was going through, it was really interesting. So it had some kind of lesson for us, and I guess whoever wants to start a new business.
That could be you.
It is. And so we learned about some investors. Chris Sacca was one of them that I was watching video of like his life, that how he started and how many times he failed, and now he's investing on a startup and new businesses.
Quite successfully too, right?
Yeah,
that's right. So we, by chance, happened to stumble across. We were looking into things. We drive to our day jobs together at work, and we were looking into things to help us along this journey. And we found a Kickstarter podcast originally. We listened to a couple episodes of that, and it was most about board games. I thought it was kind of interesting. But then we stumbled across this startup podcast, and by coincidence, it's almost the exact same scenario that we're in. A guy is starting a business, and he did podcasts, successful podcasts for quite a long time. Alex Bloomberg, and This American Life, I believe it's called This American Life, and something about money wise or money.
I don't remember the name.
But always on the top 3 podcasts, I guess. And so he had decided to do his own podcast. He wanted a podcasting business, and he was documenting it straight from the start. And that's exactly what it turns out that we're doing. Now, we're not successful in the podcast end, so that's why our production value is not as high as maybe his production end. But we have some other skills we're going to bring to the game.
Of course.
Where we might not stumble where he did. And one of those that was very interesting was he leveraged a contact he had. And he went out to see this contact. It was Chris Sacca, and he was going to pitch his business. And after stumbling around for, I don't know, painfully for a couple minutes on the tape, on the podcast, Chris Sacca said, okay, here, I tell you what, I'm going to give you your pitch back to you. And he gave Alex Bloomberg his pitch back. He says, here's what you want to say. And then as soon as Chris Sacca was done, he turned around and he said, now that you said what you wanted to say, here's what I'm going to say to refute that, or why I wouldn't invest in your company.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, so Chris Sacca already knew both halves. He knew how he should be approached by Alex Bloomberg, and then he knew how he, what he felt about that business.
Yeah.
But I think we're halfway through where they are now. They're up to episode 14. We made it to 7 or something like that. So don't spoil it for us if you know the rest of it, because we're really excited. We listen to it every day, once a day, and we find it very, very inspirational. Is there anything else that we learned from the startup podcast that we want to share with everyone?
The other thing was the effect of starting a new business in your personal life.
Which you hear a lot about too, right? And
you kind of need to be prepared for it, right? Especially those that they have kids.
Yeah.
That was another thing, and like having that podcast, I guess, helped him a lot to get the crowdfunding. And I guess when someone like Chris Sacca, that everyone knows him, invests in a business, everyone else kind of think that that should be a profit in it, right? So I guess he didn't have any problem after the first couple of a step of getting the investor. So that crowdfunding just came so quickly after, like a start of his podcast. He was saying, I don't want any more investor, right? I don't want any more crowdfunding.
Yeah, he was invested all the money. Yeah. All the money he had seeked to get started, he had got.
So what I'm saying is, so first couple of episodes you're listening, he's struggling to get money, but then as soon as he get 100,000 from these 2 famous investors, now everyone wants to invest, right? So even having that podcast is kind of advertisement for what he's doing.
Yeah, and I thought it interesting, and you found it interesting as well, that it's the momentum piece, right?
Yeah.
It's that he had nothing, and then as soon as he had just a little bit, but it was for someone that a lot of people knew, then it almost felt as though they said, well, if he's in,
I'm in too.
I'm in. Yeah, for some of it, and then for some of it, it was a numbers game. Like he went to some places, he said, and some people were just interested in the dollars, like how many dollars, and some people were interested in how much, like this business has to be exponential. They're talking about 100x business, so it's going to grow 100 times before they would even consider investing in it. And some people are just like, this sounds like a really cool idea. You're a cool person. I've got an extra 50 grand
Yeah.
or, 150 grand, and let's invest in your company.
Yeah.
So the types of investors are very varied, right? And I think we're still recording. So that's good. And we're already at 10 minutes, so that's good.
So let's talk about challenges.
Okay. So that's where we got to this week,
Yeah.
since we last left off. It might have even been 2 weeks now. And I'm excited. I think we're doing a great job.
Yay!
Okay, so challenges. Now we got next coming up. What are we going to do?
So Adam, I'm going to research on Kickstarter all the games that were funded successfully, and I'm going to gather all of this information, the company name and the amount that was funded, and if the game was successful or not. And your challenge is?
My challenge is, for those of you who don't know, and maybe we should have started with that. I'll put that down in the improvement notes, where the business we're looking to build is to build a fun, simple, easy to get into MOBA trainer. And MOBA is multi-online battle arena. It is an extremely popular type of game. It is responsible for $4 to $5 billion in investment every year, and generally 90% or 85% of all MOBAs are free to get into. So it's quite an interesting business scenario. They're all free. You can play them. You never have to spend a dime, but yet somehow they're making $5 billion amongst them in revenue. So what we want to do is make a fun to play kind of trainer. They have basic mechanics, and we want to boil those mechanics down into a very simple set of principles, and then have that game as casual. So either warm up before you play, or learn how to get better, or warm up in between matches, that sort of thing. So that's the goal, and my goal will be to do all kinds of MOBA research. So exactly how much they make, how many there are, what their player base is, do they play other games, anything you can think of along the MOBA lines.
So for someone like me that doesn't know MOBA, an example of MOBA game, a famous one will be
League of Legends.
Okay.
So League of Legends has, I think the research we've done so far has 67 million unique visitors every month to play it, and its championships have more views than the Super Bowl. So this type of stuff is happening in our culture, in our world. Maybe not necessarily our
but it's
culture,
not out there
but it's not as wide known. Everyone in our hemisphere knows about the Super Bowl and that kind of thing. And I mean, there's other things like the World Cup. It's not more viewed than that, but it's definitely a contender, right?
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting. It might be an Olympic sport at some point as well too. There's some cool stuff that I'll continue to share as we research more, and I figure out how to put it more succinctly. So that's my challenge.
And that's about it.
Anything? And when are we going to be done by?
March 8th.
March 8th. So for those of you who don't know, that'll be 2 episodes from now. So we'll do one more, and because these are quite extensive, they're going to go into other things like our business documents, business plans, even our general strategies on how we're going to tackle this from a business side. We want to give it some time to actually research. So in the meantime, I think we got some stuff planned. We talked about a little bit. We're going to do some Photoshop training.
Yeah.
You might even do a women's only entrepreneur thing tomorrow. What's that about? Do you know?
Hack night.
Hack night. Yeah, that's true. So in our town, we found some cool stuff around entrepreneurial stuff, and one of them is Hack Night, and the 4th Thursday of every night is Chic Geek.
Yeah.
And it's women only, so I'm not allowed.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not allowed.
I think they
Feminists.
It's a feminist movement. I think they're trying to ensure that women have a good, strong network where we are. I'm going to meet with another person who we get a lot of inspiration from on a business side. We worked with him on other events in the past. I'm going to do that at the same time. Then we're going to do the Photoshop. And I thought there was something else.
It was the schedule that we're working, business plan we're working on.
And a rough schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I guess until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you soon. Don't laugh at me.
You're still recording.
Yeah. Because you're laughing at me. I have this footage now of you laughing at me. See, now you're trying not to say anything.
It.
Stop squeezing my leg. What is going on?
Stop it!